Live from the Scripps Studios, this is 10 News.
Federal agents and armored vehicles swarming several homes in San Diego County, seizing evidence while investigating an alleged conspiracy. Good evening, I'm Steve Atkinson.
And I'm Lindsay Pena. Search warrants were served as part of an investigation into a suspected money laundering scheme. 10 News anchor Derek Stahl is joining us from one of the homes in El Cajon. And Derek, no arrests have been made yet.
Yeah, that's right. You know, federal agents just left here, but they spent hours combing this home. The owners are now back. We spoke with one of the owners briefly off camera. He told us he has no idea why the Department of Homeland Security showed up here. But late this afternoon, we got word it's all part of a money laundering conspiracy investigation that spans 2 counties.
This is about the quietest street in the entire world.
This quiet private road near the border of El Cajon and Rancho San Diego became the focal point of a federal investigation around 7 a.m.
Well, the first thing I heard was a loudspeaker and saying, "We have a warrant, open the front door."
Kathleen and Gary Oatsvall live just behind this 6-bedroom, 5-bath house on Vista Hermosa, which officers surrounded with guns drawn.
And we noticed in our yard here that there was men dressed in khaki and with helmets on, and they had rifles, and they came down our fence line.
Then the next thing we heard a big boom, which made me hit the floor. I watched too much news, I guess.
The Oatsvalls think agents used some kind of concussion grenade when the people inside didn't come out. About 3 miles away in Jamul, Homeland Security agents with armored vehicles descended on a home in the Steel Canyon Estates community around the same time. The Department of Homeland Security says it executed 4 search warrants in San Diego County Wednesday and 1 in LA County, all related to a money laundering investigation.
Well, it was like very unusual for this home over here since I've met and heard of the family.
Gary Oatsvall says his neighbors are gracious people who live in the house with adult kids and are originally from Iraq. Agents boarded up a door before leaving the home around 1:45 p.m. Now, 3 people at this home were briefly detained and released. No one has been arrested yet. The Department of Homeland Security says that's typical. They like to seize the evidence, build a case, and then make the arrests. Reporting live, I'm Derek Stahl, 10 News.
Thank you, Derek. People with the 10 News app were the first to learn about this morning's raids. You can download it for free. Just go to the App Store and search 10 News.
We also have new surveillance video of the Halloween brawl that San Diego police say resulted in one of its officers getting sucker punched by Jesus. Our Cassie Carlisle spent the day tracking down the video and walks you through the chaos that's now led to an arrest.
Downtown at the corner of F and 5th Avenue is where that fight broke out, where you can see in video a man dressed as Jesus running up and punching a cop.
Listening to officers' radio and watching the surveillance video, you can see the chaotic fight erupting around 1 a.m. Friday. This man walking away holding his face, another with a dark circle around his eye. Then, as it seems to calm down, you see this man dressed up as Jesus take off running. That's when he allegedly punched an officer in the face.
He's going to be a 6'2" white male in a Jesus costume with a long beard and long hair. Laceration, about 3-inch laceration to his right eye. It was struck with a close fist there.
Wednesday morning, this man, 24-year-old Eric Van Vliet, was arrested in Idaho, facing felony charges of battery and use of force causing injury of an officer. Police requested a transfer to San Diego to face those charges. The officer who was punched went to the hospital and got 5 stitches.
It really can be touchy sometimes down there.
San Diego police tell us officers work in pairs downtown for this reason, explaining it's hard to make an arrest or quell a fight.
All of those are being made instantaneously for an officer to make a decision, and to do all that and be able to break and look and have some kind of situational awareness is no small feat.
Those working downtown say they weren't surprised to hear of another fight, more shocked that an officer was involved. Reporting downtown, Cassie Carlisle, 10 News.
We called Idaho's jail for an interview with Van Vliet to find out what happened. We are waiting to hear back.
Well, new information is emerging about a brazen attack at a local nursing home. Police say Lushawn Erlin got in through an unlocked door and raped an 88-year-old patient in her bed. 10 News reporter Jennifer De La Cruz is joining us. And Jen, you found out that he has a long criminal history.
That's right, Lindsay. Prosecutors say Arline was out on parole when he allegedly raped that 88-year-old woman the other night. They say he had only been out of prison for 3 days for committing another crime very similar to this one. 48-year-old Lushawn Arline is back in handcuffs after what prosecutors call 30 years of criminal conduct. This time accused of raping an 88-year-old woman inside a nursing home.
The victim has significant memory impairment, and she was a resident at that facility.
The DA says he got in through an unlocked door at Balboa Nursing and Rehabilitation.
The roommate actually woke up and saw the suspect lying on top of our 88-year-old victim. The suspect was completely naked, and the victim had been disrobed as well.
Arline was able to get away but left evidence at the scene. Police were able to match his DNA, which led to an arrest. When the crime took place October 27th, Arline had only been out of prison for 3 days.
The defendant is on parole for a 2017 residential burglary, which involved him exposing himself, exposing himself nude to other elder victims.
His long rap sheet includes other charges of drugs and theft, but this case may be the most disturbing.
This case represents the absolute depths of humanity. It's the worst case scenario you can imagine and empathize with the victim's family, for anyone who has a relative that's in a nursing home.
10 News reached out to the nursing home, who tells us all of their doors were locked at the time. Prosecutors say that's not the case.
This is an unusual case in that there's a complete stranger who is the suspect. He had no ties to that facility. We believe at this time that he did gain access to that facility through an unlocked door.
Now that victim was taken to the hospital and treated for a broken arm. Arline faces life behind bars if convicted. Reporting live downtown, Jennifer Dela Cruz, 10 News.
Well, the flu this season has claimed its third victim in San Diego County. An 80-year-old man died from the flu on November 1st. County Health said he had underlying medical conditions despite being vaccinated. 58 cases of the flu were confirmed this week, up from 30 last week. The total amount of flu cases this season is 420, up from 157 the same time last year. County Health says everybody 6 months and older should get a flu shot.
Evacuation orders have been lifted after a brush fire got pretty close to homes in Santa Clarita, north of LA. Firefighters called in airdrops to attack those flames burning on a ridge line near the 14 freeway. Several homes, an elementary school, and a master's college. They were all evacuated for a few hours. About 9 acres were burned. No reports of injuries or buildings were damaged. Firefighters are getting cleaned up after a nasty rescue in the South Bay, too. From Sky 10 here earlier, you can see the fire was underneath the 5 freeway in San Ysidro. There are storm tunnels that run below the freeway there. The fire broke out in a homeless encampment there. Firefighters say it's been a growing problem.
We've been getting a lot of these down here in the South Bay. The homeless get in there and they're either burning copper wires or they're doing cooking fires.
Well, it took you just a few minutes to put out those flames, but one man said his girlfriend was still in the tunnel at the time. So firefighters had to crawl inside. It was filled with garbage and human waste. They didn't find anyone in the tunnel afterwards. The firefighters, as you can see, they had to be hosed off and decontaminated.
Well, 2 suspected murderers who escaped jail are back behind bars, caught trying to get into San Diego. Jonathan Salazar and Santos Fonseca busted out Sunday morning from the Monterey County Jail. They apparently made a hole in the ceiling above the bathroom and climbed out. That got them into a space for plumbing pipes. They kicked out a hatch and escaped jail grounds. They were caught by Border Patrol outside Tijuana, apparently trying to get back into the U.S. That's leaving investigators with a lot of questions.
Just because they're back in custody doesn't mean we're going to stop doing our job to investigate the crimes. We'll find out everything we possibly can about how did they get from, everybody wants to know how they got from Salinas to Mexico. We'll do everything we can to figure that out.
The 2 men will be held in separate units.
All right, now to a developing story and the search for the gunman who ambushed an American family in Mexico, killing 3 mothers and 6 children. Today, we are learning more about that brutal attack.
As ABC's Marcy Gonzalez reports, the heroic actions of a child reportedly saved lives.
Relatives visiting the horrific scene where 9 members of an American family were shot to death in Mexico, their vehicles set on fire. Officials believe drug traffickers ambushed the women and children in Sonora State, firing more than 200 shots, possibly confusing them with a rival gang.
I believe they were just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
The family, who's lived in the border region for decades, was caravanning to stay safe as some prepared for an upcoming wedding. 3 mothers and 6 children, including Renita Miller and her 8-month-old twins, were killed in the attack. Relative Julian LeBaron discovering another mother, Christina Langford's body outside of her SUV with 2 gunshot wounds in her heart. LeBaron recording this video after then finding Langford's baby Faith alive in the passenger seat with a bullet hole through her car seat's canopy.
We found the baby, and underneath the car seat there was 2 more bullet holes.
Incredibly, several other children escaped and are being treated in Arizona after relatives say 13-year-old Devin Blake Langford hid the young survivors in bushes and walked 14 treacherous miles to get help.
There were like 60 people shooting at them from all over the mountains around.
President Trump tweeting, if Mexico needs or requests help in cleaning out these monsters, the United States stands ready, willing, and able to get involved and do the job quickly and effectively. But Mexico's president says their country will handle this alone. And we've now learned an arrest made in the region Tuesday was not connected to the massacre. Mexican authorities say they are sharing information with the FBI and vow to catch the killers. Marcy Gonzalez, ABC News, Los Angeles.
And we're learning that this is not the first time the family has had run-ins with cartels. Coming up new at 6 o'clock, how they worked to protect themselves.
I'm Cassie Carlisle here in the Live Center, and we are following this new important information where it shows former Attorney General Jeff Sessions will be announcing his Alabama Senate bid on Thursday. That was his old position. You can see from this tweet by the Associated Press. Now, you may remember he stepped down after recusing himself from the Russia investigation. He is expected to make the announcement tomorrow, according to 2 Republicans with direct knowledge. Now, some rivals in the party said that they will not step aside from the race. He represented Alabama for 10 years, starting in 1997. So we'll be watching this race as it happens. Reporting in the Live Center, Cassie Carlisle, 10 News.